6 months later, divorcing my husband was a huge mistake. If I could give anyone a piece of advice for divorce, it would be to not do it under normal circumstances. If your spouse is beating you or threatening you or your children, then of course get out and fast. In my case there was no abuse. We were together for 8 years, that was mostly good, and we had 4 kids. Right around 5 years I got a promotion at work, and I got it in my head that my ex was dragging me down, or at least holding me back from more success and a better life. We never had a lot of money, but with my promotion I was now making more than he was. I started working longer hours, and at the same time his hours were cut, so he was at home more. I really began to resent him because he was home and because he got to spend time with our kids. Most nights when I got home they were already getting ready for bed, if not already sleeping. After a few months of my new job it was clear to me that things were not going well at home without me there. Some nights the dishes weren't done when I got home, or the kids hadn't eaten, or whatever else I could think of to be mad at him about. It really didn't matter. He kept saying that he would try harder, but that it was hard being home all the time. That always made me really mad. For the next couple years things kept getting worse. My hours weren't any shorter and his were on and off full time. There was no convenient time for him to be working full time because of my hours, but we also needed the money. Whenever he would tell me that he could get extra hours I would always complain, and the less hours he worked the more I complained that he wasn't bringing in enough money. Whenever he brought up the contradiction I would tell him that he needed to figure it out. I knew that it would bother him, so I started saying that a lot and for everything that I could. I really started to resent him and I pulled away from him. I knew that it was hurting him, but I didn't care. If he didn't want to be hurt, then he would at least try to make me happy. I used that same thing to justify when I started to talk to another guy at work. I thought he was just a friend, but talking at work turned into texting at home and then pictures and videos and then trying to sneak some alone time with him. I knew that it was wrong, but it made me feel so alive, and my husband had not made me feel like that in years. I was tired of being unhappy and I was doing this for me. The worst was the night that I came home at a reasonable time and found that he had cleaned the whole house, cooked the whole family dinner and picked out a movie for all of us to watch together. This would have made me swoon a couple years earlier, but that night I couldn't even look at him and I pretended to be sick. I spent the rest of the night in bed while he waited on me and checked on me and even made me different food and brought it to me in bed. It made me feel terrible, and then it made me angry that he made me feel that way, and by the end of the night I was texting with the other guy. Over the next month or two from that night it did not matter what he did. He was wrong just for breathing most days. He would get so upset with how I was treating him and I would just wait and egg him on into losing it because I knew it would happen eventually. After most of the fights we had he would apologize for whatever I told him he did wrong, if there even was something, but I never did. I would usually find a way to make him feel even worse. I knew that I was right because he was wrong, and that was all that mattered to me. I even pretended that I didn't care when he found out about my relationship with the guy from work. It really destroyed me inside to see him holding back tears, but I wasn't going to let him see that. He was at his weakest, and that was when I chose to tell him that I wanted a divorce. I could almost hear his heart shattering inside his chest. He talked and fought and said that we could work through it together. I really wasn't interested in fixing our marriage, but I mostly ended things with the other guy, but only because I knew I could get it back if I wanted it. I could see that he was trying, and occasionally I would let him know, but for the most part I kept being a huge bitch to him for any and all reasons that I could think of. I'm not sure how much more the man could have done to make me happy besides finding a job that paid enough for me to not have to work at all. He said that he was looking, but looking and finding are two different things. It was around this time that I discovered this group and a few others. I started posting things about him, from my perspective only.
So let's talk about what we heard from this woman. So the first thing is that her husband definitely is not making enough money to sustain her lifestyle, and the second thing is that she cheated on her husband with someone in her workplace. So that one I always find it very interesting. So there's a saying that most people say that most people when they go to work they leave their home husband to go to their work husband, and that's basically what was happening here. So the first thing is that her husband definitely is not making enough money to sustain her lifestyle, and she decided to treat her bad. Basically from what I heard, everything, this woman, she's just not a good person, because just because someone is not making enough money, you don't ultimately change your character and you start treating them in a bad way, and now you don't even care how about their feelings, whether they are hurt. You just continue, and mind you, this is the person that she said that she's gonna spend the rest of her life with and decided to get married to him. I don't know if these people have kids or something, but definitely I didn't hear it in the recording that was presented to us, and hopefully that we can have a follow-up and get to find out more information. But the thing about the job market, just because you decide to send a CV out, whether to submit your CV in a company, it does not guarantee that you're gonna get an interview. So even if you get an interview, there are many other people who are applying for the same job that you're applying for, so it doesn't automatically guarantee that you're gonna get that job. I think she fails to understand that thing, and at the same time, she keeps pushing for her husband to make all these changes. How come she doesn't make some changes and look inside? Why am I not fulfilled financially by my husband? And also me going out and finding another guy, is that the best solution? So that's the problem with the modern society. The modern society, it puts money above everything. So if you have money, the 10% of guys who have money, they are going around smashing everybody. Everybody is just getting a very high body count in terms of the female side, and the rest of the guys, they're not getting anything. They're not getting any coochie. Uh, which is really bad, which is not really the way to build society, especially if we have to put money at the forefront of everything. And I think that we need to understand about the society is that there's people who are in the upper class, the middle class, and the lower class. But at the same time, just because the other individual earns more doesn't automatically say that the other people who are either on the middle class or the lower class, they are people that are not important in terms of society. In order for society to be able to continue moving in the future, we need everybody working different types of jobs. Whether it's the CEO can't be the CEO of the company if we don't have people who are working, whether in sales or whatever. So the CEO is there to run the company, but at the same time, the people who are doing the hard work are the people who are in the office. Or if it's, for example, a construction company, there will be the people who's running the company, and the people who are organizing, whether the HR and whatsoever, and there are people who are actually doing the physical work. So everybody is important, and everybody is important to do the work that they're assigned to. So if now we have to say everybody needs to aim to be a CEO, what's going to happen to all those other jobs? So I think that's something that she fails to understand, that not everybody can be high earning, whether a husband or someone else, and that's something that everybody really stops to understand. So yeah, and obviously that's everything that I have on this video, and I hope to see you again. And please subscribe and like the video, and I hope to see you around again. And I'll be uploading such content on a weekly basis, and my aim now is 1,000 subscribers by June, and I'm hoping to be able to achieve that. I know it's a very big goal, but I can accomplish it with you guys by helping me to subscribe. It doesn't cost you anything, but obviously it means a lot to me. And as always, I hope to see you around. Bye bye.